Imagine selling out every arena on Earth. Imagine children weeping just from hearing your name. Imagine being the most famous human being alive and still dying completely alone. This is not a story about talent. Talent is common. This is a story about what happens when the world turns a child into a god and what gets destroyed in the process. Gary, Indiana, 1963. A city the rest of America forgot a long time ago. No glamour, no safety nets. Just rusted steel mills, cracked sidewalks, and a silence that felt permanent. Into this silence, a boy was born. His name was Michael. His father, Joe Jackson, was a man built from pressure and disappointment. He had dreams once, big ones. Guitar, music, a different life. But the world said no, and Joe never forgave it. So he looked at his 5 sons and made a decision. He would not let the world say no again. Rehearsals started before school. Sometimes they ran past midnight. Joe used a belt when the notes were wrong. He used silence when he wanted to punish something deeper than skin. And Michael, the youngest performer, the most naturally gifted, absorbed all of it. He learned to read a room before he could read a book. He learned that love arrived after a good performance and disappeared after a bad one. Love is conditional. Performance is survival. That lesson followed him everywhere, for the rest of his life. By the time Michael was 10, he was a professional entertainer. By 12, he was a superstar. The Jackson 5 appeared on Ed Sullivan. Girls fainted. Grown men stood up from their seats. But nobody asked a 12-year-old boy if he was okay. Nobody asked if he was tired. Nobody told him the show could stop. His childhood wasn't stolen in one dramatic night. It was quietly traded, show by show, city by city, for sequins, screaming crowds, and a version of love that came with conditions attached. And the boy who gave the world everything he had? He never got anything real back. Then came 1982. He didn't release an album. He detonated one. Thriller didn't just top charts. It dismantled the entire music industry and rebuilt it around one man's vision. 40 million copies. Then 60. Then 100 million. Numbers that had never existed in the history of recorded sound. The videos weren't promotional tools. They were short films, cinematic, terrifying, beautiful. The Thriller video had a runtime longer than most TV episodes. Radio stations played it 3 times an hour, and people still called in requesting it. The night he moonwalked on national television at the Motown 25 special, the audience, packed with the biggest names in music, went completely silent for one breathless second, then erupted. Phone lines at NBC crashed. People were calling just to say, "Did you see that? What was that? What just happened?" He wasn't performing anymore. He was operating on a frequency most human beings don't have access to. But what happened next changed everything. Fame at that scale doesn't come with a manual. It comes with walls. Michael couldn't walk into a grocery store, couldn't sit in a park, couldn't have a conversation with a stranger without it ending up in a tabloid. The entire machinery of celebrity had locked him inside a golden cage and thrown away the key. So he built his own world. Neverland, 2,700 acres in the Santa Ynez Valley, California. A private amusement park, a zoo with giraffes and tigers and orangutans. A flower-lined train that circled the property. A movie theater that screened films before they hit theaters. A candy shop stocked like it was made for dreams. The media called it bizarre, called it a symptom of madness. Late-night hosts turned it into punchlines. But here is what they never said. Neverland wasn't eccentricity. It was grief made physical. It was a 30-year-old man trying, desperately, obsessively, to reconstruct the childhood that a belt and a spotlight had taken from him before he was old, enough to understand what childhood even meant. Every Ferris wheel was an apology to a little boy who never got to ride one. Every candy shelf was a protest against every rehearsal that ran past dinner. Every inch of Neverland was Michael Jackson saying, "I deserved this. I deserved to be a child." And then came 1993, a 13-year-old boy, a father with a lawyer, and allegations that split the entire planet in half. The details were ugly. The coverage was uglier. The world, hungry for something dark about its brightest star, consumed every word. No criminal charges were filed. A civil settlement was reached. Michael denied everything. But the world had already written its verdict in permanent ink. The man who made stadiums weep was now the punchline, the monster, the warning label on fame itself. And yet, stadiums were still weeping. In Prague, in Buenos Aires, in Jakarta, in Lagos. People who had never heard of Gary, Indiana, who didn't speak English, who had grown up in poverty and conflict. They stood in the rain, holding his name on cardboard signs, crying for a man they had never met. Millions believed in him completely. Millions believed he was guilty completely. The truth? Buried somewhere beneath 30 years of money, media spin, and motivated noise. 2005, the second trial, 14 months, a new set of allegations. And this time, the world watched in real time as Michael Jackson, the most famous man alive, had his most private medical records read aloud in open court, had his art, his friendships, his psychology, his body, stripped bare for a global audience that had already decided how the story ended. He was acquitted on all 14 counts. But you cannot unring that bell. The Michael Jackson who walked out of that courthouse was not the same man who walked in. Something behind the eyes had gone quiet. Something that had kept him burning through everything. The rehearsals, the isolation, the losses. For now, June 25th, 2009, 18 days before the first show, Michael Jackson did not wake up. Within hours, vigils appeared on every continent. Tokyo, London, São Paulo, Moscow, Lagos, New York, Johannesburg, Seoul, every language, every time zone, every faith, one name. And somewhere inside all that collective grief, a question that nobody knew how to answer. How does the most loved human being on earth die feeling completely unloved? If this story made you feel something, that's the point. Share it with someone who needs to hear it.